The fairy tales and myths in all civilizations tend to make a group aware of its own shadow. As Jung once said, when you study fairy tales, you can study the anatomy of man. By the study of fairy tales and mythology, you not only come to know of certain structural complexes, but you are more apt to recognize what is individual and what is not, and to see possible solutions. For example, if you study the myth of the mother complex, that is, the affection and the instinctive behavior of the male child with his mother and all the psychological results of this relationship as mirrored in myths, you can distinguish typical features. The male child tends to develop the features of the hero, of rather a feminine young man of the type of Attis or Adonis or Balder, who dies young and has a tendency to refuse life, especially with its dark side. According to these myths, the young hero who loved his mother was killed by a dark, brutal, chthonic male being, which means that there is the crucial moment for a young man in that situation when either he is psychologically killed by the wild boar in himself, or if he refuses to accept his shadow, then he will probably in modern times become a pilot and crash, or go to the mountains and fall. People are apt to think of my ego and do not realize that the ego is also a general structure and an archetype to our way of thinking. It is an archetype in that it is based on a general inborn disposition to develop an ego and produce certain types of reactions and representations. You could say that in most civilizations everywhere, in different degrees, there is this tendency to develop an ego complex. What is known as I is a general inborn human structure. In the early phases of childhood, a lot of energy goes into building up the ego complex. And if there are disturbances in the environment, the process is disturbed, and the urge may, among other things, cause extreme egotism. This inborn tendency would be the non-personal aspect of the complex. But there is also another inborn tendency to split off certain parts of the personality from the ego, and these parts create an archetypal aspect of the shadow figure. Only these general structures mirror themselves in fairy tales, and they can be influenced by the civilizations in which the tales originate.